My sister and I got scammed at the T-Mobile kiosk in Gainesville, Florida. I'm saying the whole business, right? Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Hey Wesley. I am Wesley, your girl counselor, mindset coach, and most importantly to me, woman of God, here to bring you another episode full of encouragement. How y'all doing? I've been doing good. I just came back from it felt almost like a staycation. I went to another city in Florida for the weekend, and I actually recorded this episode there at first, but there was like one mistake that I had that I wanted to fix, but because I was no longer in the hotel, I was like, you know what? Let me just record this again, because a lot of the times where I re-record episodes, God be flowing in a different way. So I'm excited for on my end to do this again, but you guys are going to hear this for the first time. So if you haven't heard our other episodes yet, make sure you plug in, y'all. We are saving relationships. It was like an unintentional series. Last week we talked about 5 relationships to have in our lives to really combat that feeling of loneliness. Before that, we talked about those hidden faces of pride that we don't even know that we might be operating out of, and we unmasked them and had different tips to grow our intimacy in our relationships. And today, y'all, I want to help you learn how to control your anger and frustrations. So if you are somebody that gets really, really frustrated really quick, where somebody can do something and you feel like you're going to snap, or if you're somebody who may think about an offense that somebody has done to you over and over again to the point that it's kind of distracting you, that you want to let it go and be over it. Or actually, let me give another one. Or if you're somebody who keeps telling people about situations that have happened that really upset you or frustrate you, and you just keep reliving the story and telling other people about it, I got y'all today. I'm actually going to give you 3 mindset hacks to help you to control your anger and frustrations. And I call these mindset hacks because these are things that you can literally do in the moment that you're feeling frustrated, in the moment that you're feeling really angry. And the reason why I'm really passionate about today's episode is because I don't know when it happened, but we got things kind of flipped in society. A lot of people are tiptoeing around not offending other people, as if like we have the control over other people's emotions. Like, let me not say this because I don't want to offend them. Let me not do this because I don't want to offend them. Let me not wear this because I don't want to offend them. But in reality, God teaches us that it is our job not to be easily offended. And the enemy loves for us to be offended by other people and situations, angry and frustrated, because he knows it creates a distance between us and them. And so conversations are not being had. People aren't being as honest as they could be because of this new mindset of not saying certain things not to offend other people. Or because people are becoming so easily offended that now people can't be in the room or talk to people with opposing views or opposing thoughts. And how can we grow? How can we learn from one another if we can't even sit and talk with one another? People shouldn't be able to easily frustrate you, anger you, or catch you off guard. We should be more stable in our emotions and our ability to bounce back from situations than what society really teaches us to do. Society says we got to snap. Society says we got to put people in their place. Society says that we got to cut them off. But in this episode on Hey Wesley, I want to really help you to get back to your peace, to be able to let things go, and to be able to respond in love. And to do these 3 things is going to be by practicing these 3 mindset hacks. And don't worry, y'all, I'm coming to you guys understanding how it feels. Even though I'm not really somebody who used to snap, like I didn't really yell, or I feel like I cursed this girl out in 4th grade. And yeah, that was the last time I really cursed somebody out. A story for another day. So even though I didn't have that outward expression of anger and frustration that sometimes we see on like them reality shows, I still struggled, and God was able to help me through it. There was this one time, y'all, that I was so mad and so frustrated that, look, all my close friends know this story because of how angry and frustrated I was. But I'm going to tell y'all this story. There was this time that one of my sisters and I, who share a phone plan, went to the mall because she wanted a new phone. This was like 10 years ago. And we went to the mall. We went to this little T-Mobile kiosk. And she ended up talking to the representative, letting him know, like, hey, I want a new phone. And he was like, yeah, showed her all the phones. She picked out the new phone she wanted. And then he said, okay, if you trade in your old phone, we'll be able to discount you and take some money off of the new phone. And she was like, awesome, let's do it. Then he pulled up her account and was just like, oh, your account has two phones. So this discount can only be applied to the whole account. So we would need to have both old phones and both of you guys would get new phones. Now, Wesley, I didn't want a new phone, y'all. I loved my phone. Before iPhones, I had a phone that operated as like an all touchscreen phone, but when you really wanted to get them juicy text messages out, you could just slide it up and you'll have the keyboard. I just loved it and I didn't want a new phone. But my sister really needed a new phone. So I was kind of like, fine, okay, I guess this new phone looks nice. So we ended up trading in our old phones and we got new phones. We go home and my sister ends up pulling up like our T-Mobile account and she noticed that, hey, it's looking like we're still being charged the full amount for these new phones and the discount wasn't applied. So we're just like, oh, he made a mistake. So the next day, right, literally the next day after we got these phones, we go back to the mall, we go back to the same kiosk and we see the same gentleman there and we tell him like, hey, sir, you made a mistake yesterday. It looks like you forgot to apply the discount. So if you can just correct that, we'll be able to see the correct charge on our account. And this man looked at us in the eyes and he said, I didn't take you guys' phones. And my sister and I were just like, what? Yes, we were here yesterday. Remember, you said that if we traded in our old phones, that we'll get a discount on these new phones. And I was even like adding my 2 cents, like, yeah, and I'd even want to trade in my phone. Like, you remember us now? And he kept saying, no, we don't do that. We don't take the phones. We don't take the old phones here at the kiosk. Like, I don't know what you guys are talking about. Me and my sister kept looking at him like, what is wrong with this man? So we ended up asking for his manager. His manager comes and we're explaining to him like, hey, sir, we were here just yesterday. Okay, we talked to your employee here and he told us if we traded in our old phones that we would be able to get a discount on these new phones that we purchased just yesterday. Look at this receipt. Look at the bag that we just got yesterday. This is what happened. We need this discount or we need our old phones back. And the manager also ended up saying, yeah, we don't take phones here at the kiosk. We don't have any phones here. You guys have to be mistaken. And my sister and I start looking at each other like, what is going on with these men? Then eventually we end up, after like hours of being there and not getting our phone and not getting the discount, we end up leaving the mall. My sister ends up calling T-Mobile and it just becomes this huge thing of how we got scammed. Because that's what it came down to. My sister and I got scammed at the T-Mobile kiosk in Gainesville, Florida. I'm saying the whole business, right? And so all of my friends know this story because I was so upset, y'all. To my first friend, I went to her crying like, I can't believe he did this. Like, he lied to our face. Like, he just took our phones and lied. And I was so hurt. But then after that time, I started just complaining to everyone, like, and telling them the story over and over and over again. And eventually, my sister and I ended up getting like compensated or something from T-Mobile. So my sister called like Better Business Bureau. I don't know. She did something with the higher up people, all right? But at the time it happened, when I tell you my peace was disrupted, y'all, I complained, I cried, I told everybody in my phone list, which wasn't that long because I had a new phone. But I told everybody about this situation. So what I'm trying to tell you is I know how it feels to be so upset. I know how it feels to be betrayed. I know how it feels to be really offended by things that people have done. I felt all of those things in this one situation and in other situations in my life as well. But this story is also a little funny to me, so that's why I wanted to share it with you guys. But to be able to help you get back to your peace sooner, to be able to let things go, to be able to stop rehearsing the things that are happening to you, I want you guys to practice these 3 mindset hacks that I'm giving you guys today. The first mindset hack that I encourage you to start practicing when things happen is to think of 3 reasons why the person or the situation happened that actually has nothing to do with you. You heard that? 3 reasons why that it happened that has nothing to do with you. So for this example of this Mr. Kiosk guy that scammed us, one example could be maybe it was the manager that's forcing him to do that, and he really just needs a job because he has kids at home that he needs to feed and he has no money. That's an example that has nothing to do with me and why he did what he did. A second reason could be that maybe all of the men in his family just steal, so he doesn't know that there's a way to life without stealing. What if he just doesn't know that, Wesley? Right? So that's an example of a second thought. And a third thought may even be that he's just a part of this bigger operation that he's stuck in and he wants to get out, but they won't let him out, so he has to give a certain amount of phones each week, or they might take his dog. Who knows, right? Get creative. But just think of 3 reasons why the person did or is doing what they did that has nothing to do with you. Because what happens is you're no longer the target. You're no longer the victim in your mind, right? You're able to see that person and their actions separately, where it's no longer about you. This helps you come back to peace, because when we feel like we're being victimized, when we feel like we're being a target, now we feel like we got to defend ourselves. Now we feel like we got to protect ourselves. So we have to explain and do all these different things that takes a lot of energy and distracts us from being able to fully let it go and enjoy our day. So that is the first mindset hack that I encourage you to practice. The second mindset hack that I encourage you to practice when things really frustrate you or anger you is to start thinking of your own imperfections. Start thinking of your own shortcomings. Now, for this one, this helps you to extend grace, right? Even if you would have never done what that person specifically did, there is a time in your life where maybe in your ignorance, or maybe not in your ignorance, maybe just in your youth, that you did something that was not okay, right? Think of a time that you may have lied, gossiped, stolen. Even if there was a time that you didn't know better and you really thought something was the right thing to do and you were wrong, bring those back up to the front of your brain. Bring that back up into your memory. Because what happens is you can recognize the times that you've messed up. Now you'll be able to better understand why this person can be messing up. Like, oh, I remember that I felt pressured that one time and I lied. So maybe they're lying because they feel really pressured or they feel really embarrassed. So it just helps you to have empathy for the person instead of so much outrage and anger and offense. Right? So that's the second mindset hack that I encourage you to practice. And that is thinking of your own imperfections, your own sins, right? God forgave you. So go ahead and forgive them. Okay? And the third mindset hack that I encourage you to practice in these moments when you're really angry, frustrated, or offended. And this one, number 3, is more so for those who are closer to us. So this one may not really work for a stranger because you don't really know them. But if somebody that you really love or that you're really close with does something that really hurts your feelings, that really angers you or frustrates you or offends you, I want you to look at your full relationship with them, right? Think of times that you've laughed with them. Think of good memories. Think of times that they've had your back. See them as a whole person for a moment and not just the actual offense. I want you to ask yourself a question. Now, does this one offense that they've done, does this match their character? If it matches their character, then now you have to be like, oh, you know what? I guess I didn't realize that this is something that they kind of do. So now let me take ownership for the fact that I ignored the red flags. If it doesn't match their character, if they were so loving, if they really had your back, if you guys have such great memories and it's hurting you so much more because it doesn't match their character, like how could they do this? Then I encourage you to check up on them. That's right. Sometimes we forget that people aren't their actions. So if somebody is doing something, something is causing them to do that thing, right? So sometimes people have like a twisted cry for help where they might try and push people away. So if somebody does something that's really offensive and really off, I actually encourage you to respond in love and to ask them how they're doing, how's their peace, and just do a check-in on them. And I ask you to do this with a soft voice, not with the attitude like, girl, why you did that? Are you okay? Just being like, hey, whoa, I'm not sure what made you, steal this $500, but are you okay? Like, let's talk about it. Like, I'm not even mad at you. How's your family? What's going on? And when you respond in love, y'all, it's going to open the door to something deeper. I know it hurts when somebody you love betrays you or lets you down, but I encourage you to respond in love and to actually check in on them. Because I'll tell you one thing, one of my closest friendships right now was actually birthed out of an offense. Y'all heard me. A good friend of mine right now, we became good friends because there was something that she did years ago when we didn't really know each other that really, really could have offended me. And it did hurt my feelings. But at the time, praise God, I was actually fasting. So I felt like God was not allowing me to address the situation how I wanted to. Instead, He actually had me address it with love. He had me check up and listen and give a soft answer at a time where somebody was really offending me. And then fast forward, I think it was like 6 months later, this friend and I were able to actually have a real heart to heart about what it was that they were going through at the time that they were saying certain things that were out of their character. And we were able to have one of the deepest conversations that I've had with people. See, you don't know that offense could actually be the door to grow your intimacy with other people. If you're able to really respond to somebody's mistake with love, that's building a whole different level of trust. Like, wow, you can still love me when I'm making a mistake. You can still see me as a whole person and look past my mistakes. Like, what? When you're able to do that, you actually open the door to people being able to put their guard down and actually tell you what's going on. Because you're not running away, you're not going to punish them, you're not going to give them what it is that you believe that they're giving you. When you respond in love, you open the door for a loving response back. And even if you don't get it back, at least you know that you responded in love. You don't know what that effect may do in their life and how that might even bless you in the future. So guys, I encourage you, please practice controlling your anger. Practice not being so frustrated and easily offended. I'm telling you, you deserve to be at peace. You deserve to be able to let things go. And to be able to do that is to come out of that victim mindset, right? By thinking of those 3 reasons why that person may be doing that has nothing to do with you. You'll be able to get back to your peace by extending grace. And by doing that is taking a moment of thinking of your own shortcomings, your own sins, your own mistakes, to better empathize and understand where that person is coming from in their mistakes. And number 3, you can still remain at peace knowing that you gave the response that God gives us. And you can pray for them, but let it go and continue to enjoy your day. And that is my wish for you guys, to remain in peace and to continue to enjoy your days. So that is today's episode, guys. If you're going through a situation and you would like to receive encouragement, there's information in the details of today's episode of how you can write Wesley. If you have other tips that you want to add to the ones that I just provided on how you get over anger and frustrations really quickly, go ahead and put it in the comments below. I want to hear your tips because look, we all need to help each other. So if you got some tips you want to add, go ahead and drop it in the comments below. Or if you want to just drop that cartwheel emoji letting me know that you made it this far in today's episode, I'd love to see that also. But thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so that we can continue connecting each week. But as I always say, continue loving on you. I'll continue loving on me. And let's be free. See you guys next week. But if you... Sorry, I hit the microphone.